Pie, C5 Soldier, All Stars 5. Woof, woof. See, I can bring the energy, yo. So, yeah, we will watch them today, right? Oh, sorry if anyone is not from the UK is watching this. We didn't get episode 1 until today, or yes, it was like both. Yeah, this morning, like last night, whatever. We didn't get them last week, though, over in the UK, which is super lame. So, to make lives easier, we could have probably sourced it on the internet somehow, but to make lives easier, we just watched them both today. So, we are going to cover both episodes. But because of that, I'm sure we have stuff to say about both of them, right? But because of that, we're not going to go into super fine detail on both episodes. We'll sort of run through them, give our thoughts on the contestants, on the season, like the big stuff like the new rules. Yeah, go on, Luke, go on.
Already, it's Bob saying let him in.
Oh, sorry, Bob, you ruined my intro.
I know we're not wanted.
No.
Like,
let's introduce. You know what? Out of shame, you can introduce yourself first. Go on.
Oh, I was gonna do like the like I'm in love with Nina and Quarantina, or like whatever their fucking song was. There we go.
Oh God, we need to go on to that. Okay, that can be your intro, Suitor.
Oh!
Go on, sis.
I'm a cult leader, and I've got nice tits. Cheers.
Honestly, your best intro yet by a mile. Luke?
And your top 2 of the week is me. I'm Luke. Hi.
And it's Horacio from Spain. Hello. And I was also in love with the guy from Marriage with Children as well, like RuPaul. Back then, not now in Modern Family, but yeah. Maybe now as well. He could do at times.
What? I don't get a reference. What?
Did you watch the episode, Grant?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. Not allowed. No, get out of my house.
Hey, listen, respect. Everyone's tastes are different.
I'm not sure Grant actually did watch the episode because it was definitely prominently referenced.
Can I also admit I actually don't understand what the reference is?
Is it Marriage with Children? Married with Children. RuPaul said she had a crush on the guy from Married with Children back in the 90s.
He was the lead character.
I also did.
He was the lead character from Married with Children.
And he's now in Modern Family. He's Sofia Vergara's other half in the series.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see
that. Missed that ever being referenced at all.
So
I don't even listen to RuPaul anymore. I mean, I know it's his show, but no, I mean...
I think it's because I just didn't get the reference at all, so I think it just like flew over my head, as does most of the show. I just want to say hi to Kurt.
Photo of him though.
Did they genuinely?
Yes.
But I missed
you
that.
and Nina were fully pulling the patch during
You're
that
so into RuPaul these days, Grant. So it's just too much.
It was like a big reveal moment where Rue was sharing this part of her history, and there was a big picture up there of him and Peg, his wife Peg Bundy, with the big red hair and the skin tight everything, and everyone had a big laugh. It was so funny. It was such a landed moment in the show. I can't believe that both of you missed it. That's hilarious.
You're joking. It wasn't like that, was it? Oh my God. Well, honestly,
no, Grant, we're making it up, okay? It wasn't real.
Bob, are you with me here?
I'm about as lost as you are, so
Ditto.
There we go.
I don't understand. I didn't see it either.
This is a conspiracy. You guys have chatted privately, haven't you?
Okay.
I'm going to pull it up on my Netflix on my phone. I'm going to show you this picture. Carry on.
You have literally watched the wrong show, haven't you? You've been watching the Flower Show instead of the RuPaul Drag Race.
That Flower Show is fucking good. Like,
don't you dare! Do not come for that Flower Show. That's the one thing we'll not.
That gingerbread house, guys. You don't understand.
Exactly. That's the thing. We support homophobia, racism, but not that Flower Show. That's the cut-off point for us. Right. Yes. I'm sorry. I was saying hi to Kurt as well. Thanks for joining, Kurt. I was just saying before the stream, we missed doing this last week. But yeah, I'm super tired for some reason. I've still not been sleeping well, but I feel like I fully absorbed both episodes, every tiny little aspect of it. And I'm ready to talk about it. So first let's just talk about the general stuff, right? So should we talk about the cast of new rules first? I suppose let's talk about the cast first, right? Should we go through our thoughts on the individual contestants? Probably best, right? Cool. As it's the person I can remember, and probably the round alphabetically, Alexis Mateo. Who wants? Should we go first in order? Like, we'll give. Oh, sorry, first, isn't it? We'll give our thoughts on Alexis Mateo, or like.
Order of entrance.
Hmm?
Order of entrance.
The entrance as well.
The thought says they enter the room.
Oh yeah. Okay, we could.
Shall I,
We talk
shall I
about that,
just suggest we don't all give an impression of each one of them? Otherwise, this is going to be really long. Like, if you have something to say, then say it. No?
Yeah. Okay. Fair. That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking more of like. No, I don't know. I'm not saying if it's just entrance specifically. I agree. So we definitely don't want to do that for every point of the show because we'll be here all day. As it's 2 episodes. So I'm thinking generally like our thoughts of each contestant coming on the show. Right, because there's going to be with them for the rest of the season. I think I could give. You don't have much to say about, so I'll skip it, kind of thing, right? But I think just talk about quickly like what we think of the different contestants coming back. So so should we go through an order? Is that best? So Suta, what do you think of Alexis coming back?
Take charge, for loving sake.
Basically, I love Jujubee, I love Shay, I love Cracker, I love Blair, and I hope Mariah's a dark horse, and that's about it, I think. I don't want to spoil for the second episode, but I'll have something to say about that later because that pissed me off.
So we just, I'm lost. I love you all.
Yeah, no, I think Sue had the right idea. I was thinking of doing each contestant one at a time, but I think that's the right idea. Let's just go for our thoughts on all of them generally, right? Like all together. I think that's probably quicker. And then as we talk about the episodes, we can talk about them in more detail, I suppose.
Okay. My thought in general was that Shay came to slay. As soon as she walked into the room, she's like, "This is pissed. I pissed everywhere. This is mine. I brought the crown inside my bag. I'm gonna put it in my head and leave." But my favorite queen is still Ricky Martin.
Is it me? Yeah. No, I mean, same. Like Shay, it's just one of those ones. Obviously, like since season 9, everyone's like, yeah, she's gonna win in All Stars, and like I feel like she's already come to it with that like Alaska energy from All Stars 2, where she was just ready. Like she is like on it. Like she's prepared. She knows who she is. Like I think it's very much hers to lose. And I mean, I really hope she wins. I mean, she is just excellent in so many ways. Kind of excited to see Cracker back. I kind of do want a little bit more of her. Really excited that Mariah's back because I feel like she was kind of a weird one. Like she went home quite early on season 3, and I don't think, like, although I don't think she really put her best foot forward in that season generally, I also just it really feels like she's got something to say. So I'm really glad that she's back. And I think as well, it's just kind of fun to see queens like India as well, who like have kind of just been off the radar in for in terms of Drag Race stuff for a while. So yeah, it's quite a fun one. I don't know if I was necessarily excited to see Derek, but yeah, there we go. And Ongina, sorry, I realized I was like such a massive Ongina. Like I know, like Grant and I have spoken about this a lot, where I've been like, Ongina needs to come back, and I'm glad to see her back. I mean, obviously we'll talk a bit more about what that looks like later, but like. Really excited to see her back, but at the same time, it's just like, it's nice. I think she doesn't need to necessarily win this for it to be a good thing for her. She just needs to have her face out there again.
I am just going to show you this.
Honestly, like no recognition of that whatsoever.
Entirely missed that.
It is even the episode, season 5, episode 2, I'm in love. I mean,
Photoshop.
Just going to say.
Yeah, Photoshop.
I'm not that talented at Photoshop. That is definitely true. So we're just giving a general sort of impression on the queens in general, right? I agree what's been said about Shay. I think she is just so polished. She always was. I'm going to say it though, and I get so tired of this with All Stars every season. Stop doing your face. She was beautiful as it was. I feel like the lips are bigger, the teeth are done. I don't know. I liked Shay as she was. Like, I think that she was much more handsome as a man back then as well. But now that the lip, I don't know, it's kind of, just stop having plastic surgery on your face. Your face is beautiful as is. Number 1. Number 2, yeah, Derek Barry is like such a name in the Drag Race, kind of, I don't know, the pantheon of Drag Race queens, that it kind of makes sense that that she's like one of the prominent ones. If you ask me, okay, what are some Drag Race queens who haven't been on All Stars? Maybe she would have come up just because she's a little bit pop culture reference, and she has a persona. She was the Britney that didn't do anything else. We'll talk about what that looks like in a moment as well. As for India and Mariah, I kind of feel like, to me, they're the obvious filler queens. They didn't really do it for me in their original seasons. India said herself that she's most known for being picked up by Mimi I'm First. I'm like, yeah, that's about it. There was the read in the reading challenge, which I thought was great, which was the India Farah. I'm just giving everyone time to Google who you are. Yep, spot on, exactly, perfect. Who else? I love that Cracker's back. I have loved Cracker. I was a big fan right from her season. I don't think she lived up to her potential in her season. I'm hoping that the cracks aren't showing already, but we'll get to that. I'm trying to think who else I noticed.
Jujubee. I realized I completely forgot to mention Jujubee.
Yes, absolutely. Jujubee. I love Jujubee. I'm so glad she's back. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely live everything that she does and everything that she says. Yes, yes, yes. Alexis Mateo. I'm also glad that she's back. I think it's hilarious that everyone knows her as Bam. Bam. And she comes out wearing Puerto Rico in her entry look, which was kind of fun, but also like, I don't know, we've seen this from the Puerto Rican queens before. Like, they're all national pride, and like, I don't know, I hope she gives us more as well. But those are my first impressions of the season. I'm a fan.
So I managed to avoid spoilers for the cast for the most part of the whole year that the cast had been in the know for. I think if you don't think about it, it just doesn't come to you. It's just like, it's really hard not to get spoilers, but I did know about Cracker and about a few others like Mayhem Miller. But I was really surprised about Jujubee, which I didn't know about. And I'm such a fan as well. Like, I'm here for Jujubee. You're going to all have to fight me to death. I will always defend Jujubee. And I'm her #1 fan. And I was also surprised to see the filler queens. Like, I agree with Luke, the kind of filler queens, Mariah and India. I was a little bit more excited to see Mariah, because Mariah, I think she left a bit too early. And I'm excited about Blair. I'm excited, but I'm keeping skeptical as well about Cracker. I'm not too sure where I stand with Cracker. I naturally tend to like what she does, but there's a side to her that unnerves me, and I don't know. But I'm glad that she's there. And I'm also glad that there's no season 11 queens, because as much as I loved Monet and Monique on on All Stars 4, I thought it was just too early for them to be there. But hey, one of them won. So yeah, I think it's just too early for the newest seasons to be in there. And it's a good cast, and I really love when she brings people like Ongina and Jujubee from back in the time, and they still have things to say. I mean, this is jumping ahead, but yeah, sorry, I'm just by the road. This is my terrace back home.
Yeah, so I gave my thoughts during my Meet the Queens reaction, really. But listening to you guys again, and it's sort of like my general thoughts are like, I don't think it's like a season of powerhouses. It's not like an All Stars 2 with like Alaska, Katia, Detox. Like, it's not going to be that kind of season. It's more like a personality queen season, it seems to me. Like, we're all saying like Juju, Ongina, like Alexis. Like, do you know what I mean? They're all like really fun queens to watch. All very nice, like likable queens. But it's not like, you know, Alaska. It's not. You know what I mean? It's to me, apart from maybe Shay, to me, is the only one who seems like on that kind of level, perhaps. Again, we'll talk about that as we sort of go through this, as we go through the first couple of episodes. So just quick, I just want to say, Curtis say he's excited for Mariah. He didn't want to see Derek go so early. And he was saying, I thought this was quite good. Alexis said she was shocked that Bam stuck because she only said it 3 times. I didn't realise that. It does feel like she said it a lot more. But yeah, sorry. Go on, Siwa. Have I frozen?
Sorry, you frozen me for a sec. I don't think that only Shay's a powerhouse in the cast, because in fairness to Jujubee, she's made it to the top 2 essentially twice. And I think Miss Cracker was technically robbed of a top placement on her season when you look at who she was up at. Well, I don't know. I think she was. But I think it's going to be a really good season because I do anyway. I'm really chuffed for Miss Cracker. And I think Jujubee, in my opinion, and this is me being biased, is above Shay. She's my friend. I'll be gutted if Jujubee doesn't make the top 4, top 3. To me, it's her chance to win because, you know, mind you, I also want Illa to win.
But I just feel like I agree. Like Juju has done very, very well, but I think she's sort of excelled due to her personality and her charm, kind of thing. Like I don't think she is kind of like as elevated as say in Alaska, personally. But go on, Luke.
I actually wasn't going to talk about Juju, but I have to respond to that comment. I think that like when you think of Juju's lip sync performance of Black Velvet, come on, embodies the song like no one else. Shay's a great dancer. Juju is giving you flavor. Like, and even when she did the duet with Raven and the Dancing on My Own, absolutely believed every single thing that she does. She's shady as a bitch. Maybe her looks aren't quite as elevated, perhaps. But that kind of leads to what I was going to say about sort of the persona that was Alaska and the detoxes and things like that. That was sort of back in a time of Drag Race when you didn't have to do everything up to 11. And like nowadays, you kind of have to do, like everyone is so good that everyone's kind of the same, except for very small differences. Like because you have to compete on the level with like take this last season, for example. Lots of the looks were kind of, I mean, some of them were different, but they were different in the same sorts of ways. Whereas back then you had Sharon Needles, way out there. You had Alaska, also quite out there. You had Katja, who was definitely her own thing. And they didn't have to be polished in everything because they were so good at what they did. Whereas nowadays you sort of have to be polished enough at everything that's kind of ironed out all of the, well, most of the difference, I would say. So I think maybe that's why it feels a little bit like, I don't know, like those icons were more iconic, perhaps to me. Whereas the current crop that you're sort of getting through are all sort of, they've all elevated enough that they've all kind of risen to the top.
See, I feel like partly because Bob and I've had chats about this, some of which are on the stream, I think. But I feel like it's kind of like rose-tinted glasses. Like you look back and like, you know, you have like fond memories of the old queens. But you go back and watch the actual seasons, like Bob and I did. This is what we, like specifically watching season 1, and it's like everyone loves Angina so much. I'm just like, yeah, she's a nice person, like, and she's entertaining to watch, but. What have I seen from her? There's actually like a showcase of like a super like 11, like you're saying, like 11 out of 10 talent, you know? And it's just kind of the same thing. We're like, yeah, excited to see her come back. Like, is she going to showcase that? And we'll talk about that on this, you know, on this stream. But I think that's the same with a lot of these queens, you know, like they're sort of like, even like, I think Alexis is a good example. Like, we all know Alexis is like super like quirky, like the BAM queen. She said it 3 times, you know, like in our mind, like they're kind of like elevated and come like a bit caricature of themselves. Does that make sense? So that's kind of like, I'm kind of curious to see like if they can prove, like if they can live up to our sort of expectations of them, and I'm totally hoping they will do. But that's kind of like where I'm at with it. It makes it exciting to watch for me. Sorry, who put their hand up? Who put their hands up? Right.
You were frozen.
Sorry, I froze. Rachel, go. Sorry, Rachel.
Just very quickly on the BAM 3 times. I think Vanjie said Vanjie 3 times as well, and it became this massive thing. So there you go.
I also feel like she said BAM much more than 3 times. Like there was one episode I remember where they were filming her and she said BAM like 12 times at least in that one.
And RuPaul was saying BAM on every time as well.
Exactly. It was a little bit like I can't remember the mullet guy already. What did they keep calling Crystal?
Eldebage.
Come on, everybody. Oh no, that's Gloria Stefan. What is the Eldebage song again?
This is getting demonetized now, so sorry we can't.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, I agree with your points. You guys, like, good points. Like, I suppose it doesn't really matter if she said BAM more times or not. You know, kind of like semantics. Like, I agree. You know, could not be the case. Same with Vanjie as well. I think the Vanjie thing's a different situation. But like, I think my point. I stand by my point completely. That like, I feel like we have an idea of these queens in our head, and like whether they can actually live up to that idea is a very different thing. That's kind of the point I'm making, which I stand by. So yeah, sorry, go on, Bob.
No, I was going to say I totally agree because in many ways, All Stars is kind of a branding exercise in as well as it is a competition. So it's always quite an interesting one, because for queens who didn't do that well in their seasons, this is a really big opportunity to really sell themselves again in a huge way. And I think there are a lot of queens. So Alyssa, Alaska's actually a bit of an exception in some ways, but a lot of other queens who kind of come onto All Stars and they have to sort of balance, I'm going to show you new stuff, with this is the stuff the crowd has been kind of calling for. So I think you're totally right. Like there's a lot of that. Like Alexis coming in and doing BAM, like she actually kind of doesn't really have any other choice. Like if she weren't to do it, the crowd would be a bit like, where's the BAM gone? Like, but at the same time, it's I guess that must be the challenge for them. So actually, India, I think, is in a really great place coming into All Stars, because she's kind of got nothing to lose. She kind of gets a chance.
Is Bob frozen or is that me?
Yeah, he has. StreamYard, get your act together.
I don't know. I feel like my connection's probably not great. Most my parents are here and they're Netflixing, which probably isn't helping. But no, I completely agree. I should say, like with Bob, like finish his point for him, which probably going to say something totally different. But like I say, the queens who I agree, like a lot of the queens as well aren't necessarily all stars, like India Ferrer, for example. But she is one queen who has grown and changed so much from her season. It's kind of like a new queen coming on kind of thing. I think that's really exciting to see. So yeah, but sorry, I feel bad for Bob. Sorry, someone put a hand up, right? Does anyone else want to bounce off of that? Yeah, go on, Horatio.
Just very quickly, I think we have to wonder ourselves if we would just want All Stars to be crowded by people who didn't do very well in their season, or if we want people who nearly won the season but didn't, like Shay, because we're all very excited about Shay, but she has very little to prove. We know that she's very well rounded, and does she need to win, or does she need to make room for someone else who didn't do so well in her season? Like Monet, for instance, she was top 5 or top 6. I can't quite remember. And I think that's I don't know. I think we have to wonder, what do we prefer? I think there's room for both. I wouldn't mind if Shay wins, but to me, she already has a big target on her back, and she might end up being the Manila Luzon of the season.
Or the Ben de la Creme of the season, maybe. Bob's trying to get back in again, by the way, Grant.
Yeah, sorry, go on, Stuart.
I agree with Horatio with that, because the thing is, it is called All Stars, and I don't like it when there's too many queens that have, like, I'm really happy to see Mariah, but I'm not sure if I wanted Mariah, Blair, and India on the same season, because none of them placed particularly high. But then again, Derek was top 4. Oh yeah, Derek was top 4, and look at what that's turned out. So I'm not sure what makes an all-star. Is it branding off the show? Is it how they placed on the show? Or
yeah, season 8 was a very very few contestants. That's kind of why. But yeah,
you said that there are other contestants. Like, I'm glad the Fetching All-Star won Queen's back, because that season didn't showcase them properly. I don't know what the criteria is. Like, I know Arja's been asked to come back to All Stars again since All Stars 3, and I'm not sure why she would come. You know what I mean? And I know Sharon Needles was asked to come back for an All Star, so I don't know exactly what they want out of the contestants, because it just seems like whoever they think will sell tickets or more money, I suppose. My audio won't go off.
Sorry, Sis, you put your hand up.
No, it's okay. I forgot my point anyways. I think I was gonna say something about the All Stars thing. Yeah. I think there is a point of like bringing queens who didn't get so far, but they've sort of exploded outside of the show, because then it gives you a chance to sort of, because maybe the first time around, like Trixie, for example, the first time around she was all right, but she didn't really make it that far. She came back. She wasn't really like that. It didn't showcase the genius of that is Trixie. And then after the show, she kind of exploded. And then it really made sense to bring her back. I mean, she won. She shouldn't. Shangela was robbed. But still, I mean, she deserves it. It's fine. But yeah. Also, Grant, I wanted to say, if you want me to explain the rules, because I feel like you can't. So, up to you.
We will go into the rules in a minute. Let's finish this bit first. I just wanted to... go on, Rachel, you go.
Yeah, just very quickly. I think also there's an element of... All Stars is crowded by queens who are in the environment of RuPaul, and because there are equally, you know, I can think of queens that were kind of mid-table, ended up in the placement mid-table, and would benefit from another run. I'm thinking of the Vixen, for instance. I mean, we would all love to see the Vixen again, wouldn't we? But because she hasn't pandered to the whole format, she's not been invited. And I've seen India Farah in all the drag cons, and Alexis Mateo in all the drag cons. So there's an element of who gets invited, the queens that are in the environment of RuPaul. So that's also to take into consideration.
I'm personally offended of how lovely it sounds where you are. This is ridiculous.
I was saying Horatio is like legit budgie smuggling. Yeah, like I agree. I think they're two really good points, Horatio. Especially like the first one. I think ideally there should be 2 seasons, right? Like I don't know what you'd call it, but like people who are a bit shit and now have improved significantly season, and then All Stars, where it's like people who placed at the top but didn't quite win. I think they should be separated. It is kind of, I haven't really thought about it before. It is kind of doesn't really necessarily work putting them together. Sorry, Sue, you want to say something?
Of an underdog season for like, I don't mind there being 1 or 2 queens that don't place properly in the because I like it. You know, it's like a black horse, dark horse, black horse. I'm being Jocelyn Fox now, bloody hell. It's like a wild card of the season. You know, it works well. Like Aja was really good when inserted, but this season, even if they all do really well, it's not enough. It's too many of them in one season. Like Blair, India, Farah, and Derek Barry. Even though Derek Barry placed high, to me they're not true All Stars. You know what I mean? I don't think any of them are going to win. You know, because really, it's called All Stars, it should be like, I don't have a clue who's going to win. Well, let's face it. I will bet 50 quid that Jujubee, Cracker, and Shay are in the top 3. I will literally bet each of you 50 quid.
You do not want to do that because I definitely don't think you're right.
You would lose 50 quid.
Yeah, you 100% will. That's not smart. What was I going to say?
On whole new rules that we now have to contend with as well.
That's true. That's true. Very true as well. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. What's the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, so sorry, just to bounce off the previous point though about Shay, that's kind of the same thing. But I feel like even with like Trixie is a great example. Yeah, as like she evolved so much from her season. She had things that were holding her back, and then she kind of shed those, and then showed her sort of like ultimate level 3 evolution on her All Star season. Same with Alaska, right? Like even Alaska, we look back in season 5 and think Alaska was great, but she wasn't. She had stuff holding her back, money, like some confidence issues, like loads of things. And she sort of came back and was the ultimate version of herself on a season. Whereas Shay, I think maybe even the first time in All Stars, like I'm trying to think of previous seasons, apart from Gia, obviously, where it's sort of like she excelled on her season. She was kind of 11 out of 10 on her season generally. She didn't really have anything I can remember holding her back. So for me personally, I'm not saying again, like she's doing great and I think she'd probably win. But exactly, I know I wasn't holding it back. But that's unfortunate. But I was just
28 minutes on just the cast.
No, this is okay. We're talking about this is okay. This is important. But we won't go. Oh God, this is an important point. But in terms of like I guess maybe a personal thing, I don't know. But in terms of watching episodes, like I'm not massively excited to see Shay because like we've seen. I know exactly what she's going to serve already. She's fun to watch, but she's nowhere near as like gripping as like a Trixie because like we didn't know, like we hadn't really seen Trixie do that before on the show. Yes, you know what I'm saying. My point is valid. Don't invalidate me. Hashtag me too. So should we continue? Okay, let's talk about new rules then. Let's move on to new rules. Okay, who wants to actually explain them then? I do actually understand it, but they are a bit much. Go on.
All right. So much like Jenga. No, I'm kidding. So basically, let me remember kind of. Okay, so RuPaul chooses the winner still. Just one winner now. And then RuPaul decides who is in the bottom. It could be 2, 3, 4, all of them. And then the winning queen can decide one of the losers to go home. And the other queens can also decide who the fuck they want to send home between the bottom queens. And then they bought a whole shitload of lipsticks, and then they're all picking lipsticks, posing in the mirror, making the drama, and then go back to the stage, and then that's the twist. They bring a lip sync assassin to assassinate the competition. I haven't drank today, I swear. And then, so if the lip sync assassin wins the lip sync, the money rolls over to the next week. But if she loses, then the money goes to the winner, chicken dinner. Also, well, there is a point then in staying safe, I feel, because it's like, oh, maybe I want to stay safe this week, let the money roll over, but then they don't know who's going to be the assassin. So it's so, yeah, it's a gag. It's definitely a gag. I was interested. I was watching. It was dramatic. I loved it.
Wait, I stand by my point. That's probably the most concise way you could explain it. It still took 5 minutes. It's what I mean. It's just like a drag competition show. Like, they need to chill a little bit. But to be fair, I do think new rules are significantly better and should like cause less disputes. But yeah, who has thoughts on the rules generally? Luke, you start.
I just love that we get a lip sync assassin, like a little hint of spice from previous seasons, and you don't know who it's going to be. And right at the end of the show, it's like, oh, we get to see Evie Oddly again, or oh, we get to see them again, which is exciting. I think it also is a really nice way of adding a bit of uncertainty, like either the winner just picks outright, or everyone else gets to have a say. And so if you're in the bottom, you've got to try and pitch your case to everyone else in the room, and you don't know whose choice it's going to be in the end. And I just think it's a really great way. I'm really curious to see how it all ends up, and as to whether it gets rid of some of the unprofessional fuckery that we've had in recent All-Stars, where like the strongest players don't necessarily even get to the end. So I'm really excited.
So I'm also digging these new rules. I think they're bringing something new, and I think that it's been really interesting to watch it. And you go, oh my god, who's going to be the lip assassin? It's really, really exciting. I'm just wondering, and I was wanting to ask you guys what you think is going to happen if the lip sync assassin wins 1 week and there's a tie between all the remaining queens. Do you think that 2 queens will leave that week? It might be the case. Maybe they'll undo the tie somehow. What will ever happen? I mean, maybe no one will go.
Maybe they'll incorporate the top queen's vote as well, and it will be like a 3-way vote then.
Hello. I totally agree with Horacio and Luke there. I think it's a really clever twist for upping the stakes. So not only like Luke was saying, it rewards in some ways being safe for 1 week and knowing you can strike the next. It really it puts the cat among the pigeons in terms of actually having to appeal to everybody. It's a really clever way, I think, of engaging the legacy of the show. So the fact that, you know, after 12 seasons and however many, four other All-Stars, you've got such a bevy of queens who are known for fierce lip syncs. You're basically guaranteed a good lip sync every week now, which is really good. And as Shay said in the second episode, you've got someone whose only purpose in that episode is to win a lip sync. So they go fucking balls out, like balls to the wall. They go all out to try and win. And I think as a result, we've had 2. Don't go balls out. Don't untuck yourself mid lip sync. That's probably disadvantageous. But or could work well. Depends on how good your balls are. But I think it's a really clever move because like it means that probably hell for the actual participants, but for us, like we get like a pretty good show every week. I think it's a really clever move, and I'm intrigued to see whether this will follow on into All-Star 6 or future ones.
When the rules were announced, I was like, yes, I'm going to get to see Cameron Michael. But then I was like, oh, crap, they're going to fetch Breiter back. But then I realised, no, it's 2 seasons only just aired, so that's not going to happen. But that was the first. I was like, oh, please don't fetch Breiter back, even for a bloody lip sync, because we had enough of her lip syncing. And oh, yeah, I like the rules as well. I think it's really good. Like, and when I saw Evie do the lips, I was, sorry, articulate now. When Evie did her lip sync, I found it really interesting that she seemed to have been more prepared for it. Like her outfit and everything was really designed to the song, I found, and the way. So I wonder how long the lip sync assassins have had to know, because I don't think they've just been called in the week before. I think they've known before the All-Stars were even cast, if you know what I mean.
If Cameron Michaels comes, I'll send you in advance a script of what he will do in the lip sync because it's fucking predictable.
Facts.
100% that. It's gonna. There's gonna be like a slow split. There's gonna be like it's so like.
She's gonna come forward like that on the floor. She's gonna come like that.
Look, I don't care what he does.
God,
I like seeing on
I'm
screen.
really
I
praying
like
for.
muscles.
I'm really praying for Pearl to come in as a lip sync assassin and knock us.
Coco Montrese.
Well, that's what Kurt was
Orange.
That's what Kurt was saying, right?
Rosie Andrews, she won her fair share of lip syncs, did she not? I wonder how many wigs she can fit on.
We're probably going to come to it, but Evie did like a double wig reveal from a split, from a flip. I mean, like, I love Evie anyway, but I was just like, this is so good.
But was it right? I thought it looked wrong.
Oh, I thought she sort of flipped and it kind of like split in two to reveal like something else.
Glasses were keeping
She did a wig reveal like that on her season, didn't she? Where she was sort of did a split.
The kind of braid kind of look when she was against
the glasses were holding them in because you know when she had the glasses on, when she took them off, that they were hooking those pieces in. That's right. She looks so good. She looks so good. Like this, her lip sync today reminded me why she won her season. Because for some reason, unless I'm actually watching her perform, I don't remember how good she is.
I mean, I feel like we're skipping around.
Don't bother me. We're just kind of snuggling in. Let's bubble, shall we, Bob?
Turn off your cameras. I feel like I've lost control.
We need to get a breakout room, you know.
Yeah,
this is what happens when you have no structure in your show. We're talking about things already. Grant.
I know. I haven't had no control in the first place. You guys are working against me, trying to bring me down.
If you don't mind, can I throw a question into the mix? I don't know if this, because we've already started talking about it, which is who do we think will be some of the assassins?
That's what
Monet.
There we go. I'm saving you time.
Let me host this damn show. I was literally just about to go on to that. I was going to say, like Kurt was saying, that like who do we class as lip sync assassins? Well, I was going to say we can't get onto that because that's literally just the same discussion we had about who's an all-star, right? But of lip sync assassins, the same sort of thing. Although I think it's interesting about Coco Montrese because we said in a previous stream, didn't Coco actually outlast Alyssa in her season, but yet Alyssa was brought back as a lip sync assassin in this season. So that was quite interesting. She wasn't actually technically a lip sync assassin on her season, really. Go on, Luke.
The difference is surely not who's a good queen, but who's a good lip syncer, which is not necessarily the same thing. So like Sasha Velour could be brought back because her lip sync was fucking amazing. She won the title, so like she's not going to come back to an All Stars, but she could come back as a lip sync assassin. Absolutely, and throw tulip petals over someone next time. Who knows?
No, I agree, but I'm saying like
imagine that.
Oh god, that would be proper funny.
I thought that's who it was going to be. I thought that's who it was going to be on the second episode.
I thought that's what it was going to be.
Oh, that would be so good. But as I say, my point is, like, we can't discuss like who's a lip sync assassin, who's not, because it's basically the same discussion we had about who's an all-star, who's not an all-star a minute ago, right? It is a similar discussion. We can't have that same discussion again.
Well, I don't know, because Cameron would be more lip sync assassin than all-star.
Guys. I'm not saying like someone. Oh my god! I'm not saying like the people who we said aren't all stars aren't lip sync assassins. I'm saying like who technically classes as a lip sync assassin, like who doesn't. It's kind of like subjective, right? It could be like this person's a lip sync assassin because of these reasons. Like they have that one amazing lip sync.
One is someone who has took out two. They basically took out.
I was going to say that.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's technically what it is. My point is the same with All Stars. All Stars technically like someone who made top three and made a name for themselves over the show, but they're not. Like it's India's comeback, but we're happy to see her. Same. There'd be like people who've done like a couple of amazing lip syncs. Maybe like Milan could be a lip sync assassin. Maybe she's done like a couple of great lip syncs, or like I don't know. I'm spitballing. My point is like we can't.
A lip sync assassin is easier to define than an All Star because All Star is more. A lip sync assassin is very specific. You know, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, but it's this drag race. That isn't going to be the case. There'd be like some randomers there, and we're like, "Why are you there?" It's because they're there for other reasons. Guys, talk. Okay, go on, talk.
I was just going to say maybe also what your comment was about before is that it's a very similar type of discussion, which would make for perhaps a slightly more repetitive stream. So let's talk about something else.
That's literally what I was trying to say. Thank you very much. Thank you, Luke. That's exactly what I was trying to say. But Horatio, do you have something you wanted to say specifically? I don't feel bad.
Well, let's move on. Yeah, it wasn't that interesting.
Great, love that you're that self-aware. Right, episode 1 then. So the reading challenge first of all.
Unlike Luke's, which was clearly what needed to be said.
So reading challenge. So let's give our general thoughts on reading challenge, right? So who wants to start with that? Horatio, you should start with that, right? Because I feel really bad now.
What? I missed that. I was trying to merge with Luke.
Reading. You still merge with Luke. Why are you coming? Oh God. Reading challenge. Go. Thoughts.
Oh my God, that really unsettled me. Reading challenge, great. I think it's a shame that they know who's coming, because they clearly do know who's coming, because they have all their reads ready, and that takes away the improv skill that is reading, I guess. So it's not the same to having rehearsed your reads than having someone you didn't expect and having to read them. Like, I think Bless and Claire did really well, obviously, but she's not known for being a mean queen. So I think it is down to the fact that she had them really well rehearsed and she performed them really well. So kudos to her. But I think Jujubee was more deserving of the whole thing because she's just a very good reader. And yeah, bless on Jaina, she tried. And a very good read by Derek to India. Was it the one that Luke mentioned about the Google thing? I think Derek's read of India was good. I can't quite remember what it was, but I thought it was good.
Who wants to go next? Yeah, okay, so Luke, then Bob.
I love that. First of all, I love that there is a reading challenge and it's back, and I love it. Also, to Arathio's point, I think that's such a big difference between a normal season and All Stars, though, right? Is that they like, you don't have a sewing challenge very much on All Stars. You, like, all of the costumes are pre-purchased and pre-designed months in advance. All of the stuff is prepared, and so. But I think that it's challenging different skills. And they can be much more prepared about it, but it does make for a more entertaining show, I've got to say. There's much less filler.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I remember hearing an interview with Trixie before her All Stars, where she was saying that she had an inkling of who she thought would be on. And so she, in her hotel room the night before, wrote down loads of reads for them to kind of prepare, because she kind of had a rough idea of who at least half the cast would be. And I think that is the difference. You can really reference the outside world in a way that you can't on a regular season, where you kind of have to go on like, oh, you're a bit shit at that challenge last week. Oh, and you're fat. Like, it's kind of, there's a bit more to go on.
I feel that as a personal attack to me. I'm just going to try and move on past it. No, I agree completely. And it kind of sums up what I was going to say earlier, actually. I forgot. Like, that's kind of why I think I prefer All-Star seasons, because you kind of know you're getting, like, quality, like, TV generally, right? And that's kind of what I feel about this cast as well, like, in terms of previous comments about them, like, whether they're technically All-Stars or what, like, in terms of, like, what we see the talent in that. But they're just, like, I'm still, like, really happy with the cast. And it's, like, I'm far more excited for this season than a normal season, because, yeah, like, I just know we're going to get great, like, an elevated level generally. And yeah, you're right, the reading challenge showed that perfectly. Anything I wanted to add personally was I don't think Giant did that bad. Obviously someone has to do bad, at least one person has to do bad every reading challenge, but I think part of it was the edit. Like, I think it wasn't that funny, but I appreciated that bad. Like, what she was saying was somewhat funny, but I think it was her delivery and her lack of confidence that kind of ruined it. I don't think if she was actually that bad, especially compared to previous reading challenges. Yaz, Sue, anything to say about the reading challenge? Cool. Let's move on. Nice. Okay. Cool. So let's jump to the main challenge. Or any workroom bants we want to like bash out for the kids? Oh,
beef between Derek and India. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. So okay, I've got my thoughts on this beef. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts first, because I'm considerate. Who wants to go first? Go on, Luke.
I'm always going to put up my hand. So it's I mean, the reads, like, I feel like, and maybe this is veering slightly off topic, but I don't think it is. I think it is about this. Derek was calling India out for being two-faced, and yet then was also, I don't know, trying to butter her up when she was trying to plead for her life. She's also then trying she was doing exactly what Fifi O'Hara did. Like, I'm here to show that I'm not who you think I am, by showing you exactly that I'm exactly who you think I am. I'm going to show you that I don't just have to be Britney, dressed as Britney. I'm going to show you that I don't just... Yes, Bob, I love you. I'm also going to show that I am about being Derek Barry and not just about being other people by showing you my lip syncs and impressions of a bunch of other people. Like, honey, get back in your box, sit down.
Okay, go on, Bob.
No, yeah, I think it's always
already, that's what I said. Next.
Yeah, I know, it's done already. But I think precisely in the sense of like someone like Derek, I think surely coming into this, Derek knew what she had to prove, and it's quite frustrating to see Derek be like, "Oh, everyone reads me for being Britney Spears, so I'm literally going to come out in a Britney Spears outfit." Like, I mean, I get her point that a lot of her makeup, regardless of what she wears, is red as Britney because that's how she paints. Fair. Okay, but then she doesn't do anything. Like, you know, Blair in one of the 2 episodes had like this sort of latticey, what do you call it? Like kind of like flower. What do you even call it? Vines and stuff all over her eyes. Like Derek could do something. Like, you know, do something, Charlie. Come on, like, you know, it's.
You're muted, dumbass.
Sorry. I think it's a lack of self-awareness, right? Like, it's kind of, it's like, what, don't like have a storyline like you're not just Britney, but then like all you're doing is showing Britney. Like, again, like it is like a lack of self-awareness. But like, I wanted to bring it back to actual feud specifically at this point. So I just want to say, like going into it, I wasn't really sure whose side I was on because I didn't really remember much about India apart from she kind of like didn't seem particularly warm on her season, and Derek wasn't particularly warm on his season. But coming off of it as it progressed, and especially even during the initial reading challenge, like Derek came across as quite nasty. Like, I don't think India was particularly like kind throughout the whole thing either, but I feel like Derek came off worse for sure out of it personally, so because of that, team Farah. So sorry, Horatio, then Stuart.
Yeah, as an outsider to this beef, because I had no idea that this existed, I was quite uninterested by it, to be honest. I was like, yeah, well, whatever, but all the queens were like, oh my god, tell me all about it. In the work when they were beaten, I think that India came off a little bit worse than Derek. Like, Derek seemed to have the last word, and she sounded very sort of, I don't know, assured about her stance, and India didn't say anything back, which makes me think that she carried some truth. But then at the end, it turned out that it was all a little bit of nothing, really, because India did ascertain that she had been a little bit nasty at times, and Derek thanked her for it, for saying that, and then that was it. Yeah, fought over.
So, sorry, did she say that? I don't remember saying that.
Oh my god, Grant, what did you watch?
Did she though? Did she say like? I know she said like
in the critics in the
she said
on stage.
And know she's in a much better one.
Yeah, no, I heard that bit, but that's what I mean. And I know, and she admitted during the initial like debate conversation between her and Derek about like her like talking about people on Twitter and that. But like she didn't say specifically she had said anything like hurtful or hateful or whatever towards Derek or Nebraska or anything, did she?
No,
because
she
said
didn't say it specifically, but she did say that she had been in a dark place and she had been very bitter on the internet. She did, in front of the judges.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I mean, talking about purely between the feud between Derek, because I mean, basically the whole thing was right. They're like, Derek or Nebraska interpreted something she had said, like a random tweet about, she interpreted it as being about Nebraska, right? And she said it wasn't about Nebraska, and Derek, for some reason, of Nebraska or whatever.
Sure, but then Derek accepted that as a kind of apology, and she said, "Thank you for saying that." So that was kind of the end of it.
Okay, sorry, I just want to say that, but like, I still doesn't work for me because, like, she still didn't say. I still think Derek and Nebraska's wrong. Like, I'm not happy with this apology because, like, I was thinking because it obviously wasn't like she said it was about pig in a wig. It wasn't about Nebraska. It doesn't sound like it's about Nebraska. Derek seems like the sort of person that would assume things are about him or his partner. And so they took offense to it and created this drama. It feels like just Derek created this drama out of like nothing. Sure, a separate issue to me is that like India's been bitter on Twitter and like been in a dark place and stuff. Sure, like apologise for that, go off sis. But in terms of this drama with Derek, it still seems very much like a Derek drama that India's like a part of. That's my personal read of it, and that's what I wanted to say. Go on, sis.
Yeah, as you were saying, like Derek is just good TV. See, that's what he's there for. But yeah, he's like, oh, by the way, there's one person I don't talk to. That's India. By the way, India, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think. Like, bitch, like, how could you call somebody two-faced? Just be like, I'm that bitch. Do you know what I mean? Just own it. Like, I like the drama. You know, I give it as much as I can take, and that's it. Like, just don't try to play so fucking innocent.
That was a wonderful Britney reference to weave in there. I love you. This is why you are our cult leader. So I think I think as well what's quite interesting is that you can see that this matters more for Derek, probably not only in terms of column inches, but in everything else. In the fact, like the Build interview, Derek's talking about it. Like her What You Packing, Derek's talking about it. It's just like, it's kind of Derek's only thing. And like, you know, Alyssa Coco, that whole thing was like, it kind of worked itself out, but it took, you know, several episodes to build up to, and yada yada yada, and then they were fine. I find it really funny that like Derek's like, oh yeah, no, I totally get that. I think that was really good of you to say in front of the judges. And then literally like the promo rolls around for All Stars, and she's like, she's a fucking bitch, and she's a liar, and I hate her. You're like, right. Chill, Derek. So I think Derek kind of knows, probably quite cannily, that this is her only, like, this, you know, she's gone out first. What else has she got? Like, she's got drama, and that's going to kind of keep her name being mentioned.
I mean, we'll probably talk about it more during the talent show bit, but I don't think it is that. I don't think she's that intelligent. I think it is more just lack of self-awareness, to be honest, genuinely. Kind of harsh, but yeah. Suter, do you want to go?
God, I think we've talked more about Derek than his screen time on All Stars at this point, to be honest. But I gotta be honest, I'm a bit more on Derek's side because I've seen some of the nasty things India tweeted, and she was horrible, man. It wasn't just like, I don't like you. She was like really coming for people, like, you know, like the way the fandom is, like very toxic, you know, threatening death threat sort of stuff. She's posted some really nasty stuff. But Derek, of course, being Derek, he's being a bit extra about it because Nebraska has said she has no ill will towards India, but will keep her on block because it was Nebraska got really upset the way India was targeting her because basically India worked somewhere and then Nebraska got the job after she left, and there was this whole debate on stuff like that. India was really nasty, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter on All Stars. Do you know what I mean? Because I think, and I just didn't like the way, I don't know if it was the way he was edited, but you dressed as Britney twice, and then you literally did impressions of 13 other people, and then crying that no one understands that that's you. So you know, it's like, you know, if a parrot can imitate someone else, it's still a fucking parrot. That's not the case with Derek Barry. He's a drag queen. He's meant to be showing us who he is.
Okay, so let's move on to the talent show, and let's like piggyback off of that then and talk about what we thought with them. But so yeah, going off of like that though, I kind of what I said before about like yeah, like either to me, my thing is like I think it's perfectly legitimate to be like an impersonator and excel in that field, right? But then own it and be like, yeah, I'm Britney impersonator. I'm gonna do like Britney doing this thing or whatever. You want more of that? Great, I'll come back on the show and do more of that. You know, but it is just like the dissonance between like, oh, I'm definitely not Britney. I've never seen her before in my life, and then like just being Britney or the other people. You know, like it was very bizarre and quite uncomfortable. It seemed like a bit like a mental health kind of thing to me. Like, you know, because it could just a level of kind of like lack of awareness and like the emotion tied to it. It was very, I don't know, I thought it was a bit much, but not necessarily to her personally. That's more on production than her. Go on, Luke.
I was just going to say that on the point that, you know, she's said that she's going to try and come and show people who she is and not just Britney, but her entrance look was uber Britney. could not be anyone else but Britney. And yet then when she was talking about when they're all dressed up differently and people were saying why, you know, you were told that you were only showing Britney, and she was sort of singling them out. But okay, if I would wear this, I would be Britney at a red carpet, or if I would wear this, I'd be Britney doing this. It's like, okay, fine, but show us all those different Britneys then. Like, don't show us stereotypical bog standard midriff revealing, drop to your knees on the floor, typical Britney move. Like, show us something else Britney then, if you want. If that's your thing, fine. Thanks, Bob.
So you give us more.
Give me more. Give me more.
Sorry, who else wanted to go? And if not, move on to like a different.
Live your life. What? Sorry, I should have raised my hand. I need to go. Can I give my quick thoughts on the rest of the shit?
I was going to throw things off so much, but go on. Only because we love you.
I love that you exist to make Grant's life difficult. Like, this is wonderful.
I literally was just gonna say I'm really excited for the season. Like, I'm really gagged. I'm loving it. I'm fully involved, and I agreed with most of the stuff that happened. Anyways, the winners and the losers. And yeah, I'll give you my particular thoughts later. Also, I got a bit emotional on the very end of the second episode, and I like you guys to address that a little bit, because it's the only thing I'm gonna say. It's not a spoiler, you know, Angina's gone, but like the fact that Rue said that she changed her life 11 years ago. The moment that Angina said on the stage that she's been living positive, and it literally is what made me fall in love with RuPaul's Drag Race, and I think that's true for a lot of people. So it was really sweet moment. All right, Grant, you can wipe your tears now. I'm gonna go. Love you guys, and I'm sorry.
Take care.
I'll see you guys.
Thank God for that. Right, okay. So, what rest of the talent show? What else? Who else should we chat about? Go on, Horatio.
So I really liked my top three were Alexis and Miss Cracker, for the sheer energy of their performances. It's not a performance I would normally care about, but they were so energetic and they were so polished, and they were so. I mean, it was more of the same from Alexis, and slightly different from Miss Cracker. Like, I had never seen her do a death drop. I don't know if she had done one before, so that was very interesting. And but the real surprise was India Ferrah. Like, while I was watching the beginning of the episode, I was wondering. I hope she monetizes and brands herself with the. Drag is not a sport. What is it? Drag is not a contact sport. I was thinking. I wish she does something with that, and she did. And she did a huge number that was so good. It was so entertaining. Yeah, like that. Absolutely. Yeah. So well deserved top spot for her. I also like Jujubes, but I didn't like the fact that it was pre-recorded, because I don't think she was singing live.
So I was going to say, yes, it really pissed me off. They marketed that as live. That really pissed me off.
Bless was live, but Jujubes wasn't.
Yeah, no, and it's obvious as well.
Huh?
No, I think Bless was live.
I didn't think
Bless was live.
You sure?
Bless was live because it wasn't perfect, and Jujubes was recorded.
Did you see Blair kick off on Twitter about it? Blair was going mad, saying they edited her vocals to be worse than they were, and they cut out all the lines she sang really well. They cut out to the song, and basically she had a backing track similar to Jujubee, which elevated the performance, and they literally took it out. And she said, "I'm not going to blame the editing." When she was watching the episode live, and she said she was really upset when they showed her performance.
Okay, so on that note, in my eyes, any live performance has more value than a pre-recorded one. I think it's fine that they allow pre-recorded singing performances, but Bless was not perfect vocally, but it was very good, and it had added value by it being live. So it doesn't matter to me that they cut out the best bits. It was, in my eyes, still better than Jujubes, even though Jujubes was very good because it was live.
I agree. I would just also say I loved Shea Coulee's pole dancing. Absolutely transfixed, bitch.
You just like her thighs.
Not just, but also.
No, I just want to like echo what Horatio said. Totally, 100%. I think especially after like the wreck previous live singers have had during the talent show to like come and actually do it, like took a lot of balls, especially from Blair, someone who obviously like storyline was that had zero confidence. I was super impressed with that, to be honest. Just generally, and it is like hella shady. Thanks for telling us to, because I think that's important. But they did that because I did notice that like she ended on a bit of a weaker part, but there were stronger bits earlier on and stuff. Like it did seem a bit like muddled. Sorry, Yaz in the chat. I was going to say as well, and also about Shay, I agree. Like, I was going to say, like, the only thing with the talent show is I liked it more in previous seasons where it was a bit more varied. Whereas at the moment, it's very much like we're all going to like record a track and do a custom routine to it, which is fun. Like, I'm here for that. That's like pretty much what drag is. But like, it's just less like surprising and engaging. Like, I think even compared to what All Stars 3 of like Archer jumping off the box and Kennedy Davenport and stuff, like, I don't know, it's kind of like a bit. No one really like wowed me. I want to talk about Mariah's in a second. But Shay kind of, but based on like that sort of format of like a pre-recorded track and routine, I was really impressed with Shay's. I thought like hers was like more chill and like entertaining, and like the song was better. And like I think Shay's kind of stood out a lot more for me than it was given credit for. But yeah, go on, Luke.
I would just add that I really liked it too because Shay was selling entertainment, whereas Blair and Juju were selling their songs that you can buy now on iTunes. It's a bit like it's all a bit over marketed anyway, and then here I'm going to launch my new song on the talent show. It's a bit like, actually you're just trying to sell me something, whereas Shay was just selling me goop.
No, totally agree. Girls with Breeze. And I just also think like Shay's was different, like as you guys were saying. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, singing is obviously a talent. But I think you're totally right. I mean, I was just like, okay, Blair, like that's the song you're gonna promote? Okay, cool. Like really like mid-tempo, not really going anywhere. Like Juju's I quite enjoyed. But also like the recorded track. Like, you know, after Morgan McMichaels is like, why you mad though? Which is still like seared into my memory. I'm like, why you mad though? Like, I kind of do wonder with some of these. Like, I mean, apparently with the same thing along with Blair. Apparently, Mayhem also there was some issue with the track versus reality. Which I don't know, may explain some of what happened. I mean, I don't think what Mayhem was doing with that song was particularly exciting anyway. I don't think it was necessarily going to be like, wow, I'm so, because, you know, like comparatively, I think that's like India obviously had a little bit more to prove, but India's, and I do think Mayhem was clever to do the little drama eyes thing at the beginning, that was good. But I think like India's was so much more thoroughly realized. I think it was more like it was a full thing. It was so high energy, as Horacio was saying, and so you kind of like you were rooting for her. Whereas like Mayhem's, I was kind of like, I mean, obviously editing may factor into it, but I was a bit like, and I also kind of feel like Ongina's was really quite lazy. Like, don't get me wrong, the sight of her coming in on that little toy car, like the really miniature car, was brilliant, and like if it had been like that level of Ongina for like the rest of the performance, I'd have been sold. But yeah, it was as Luke's saying, like it was. I thought it was really lazy. Like it wasn't even like a mix of your own. It was 3 RuPaul songs, which is like, firstly, like that is like the Lollapalooza challenge, basically. It was just, yeah. It kind of didn't really go anywhere for me, and I kind of just thought it was a bit awkward, just like, oh, okay, I've done some reveals and now I'm just dancing. You're like, okay, so basically what you're saying is you've lip synced, like that's that's your talent.
So we're seeing nothing new from season 1, is what you're telling me.
Which is what I was saying earlier, right? In terms of like, I don't know how much of that's kind of our fault as an audience, so for putting these expectations on her, when what has she really shown us to sort of show that she can live up to these expectations? Does that make sense? Like, Luke's not agreeing with me. Go on.
No, I'm not, because we've seen all of the other talent shows where we've seen better. Like we've seen Shay on a pole. We've seen Cracker giving us new death drops and fun lyrics and stuff that are based on her brand, and we're seeing Ongina lip sync, and like. They don't compare.
Right. And it's like, oh, so if Ongina ends up in the top, what's she going to do? Oh, lip sync. Like, it's...
That's what I'm saying. I agree completely with you guys. That's what I'm saying. But my point is, like, has she really shown us that she is like super inventive and creative? Like, this is what I mean. Like, I don't know why people are expecting so much from her. You know, like she performed how I expected her to perform. That's what I'm saying. And again, like, it kind of sums her up perfectly for me. She came out, it was super like adorable and funny when she came out. Like, she's so likable and charming and nice. But is she like crazy talented? Like, going to change our world with like an amazing show-stopping performance? Not as far as I'm aware. You know. That's kind of what I'm saying. But can we talk about Mariah's thing? Because, like, you know, like, what's going on there? Like, I was really trying to get into it. I'm like, yeah, Queen, like, oh, I see you. I see, oh, that blood, mate. Like, oh, I'm with you. But also, I'm like, no, I'm not. What's going on?
You go ahead, Alfio.
Go ahead, Shay.
Okay, so I was gonna say on the back of something you said earlier, Grant, that I missed performances more like in All Stars 4. We had the fantastic painting by Manila, Upside Down, and then we had Giogan's amazing display of Japanese culture. Was it Japanese? I'm not too sure. Yes, it was. So that's the kind of variety show that I would pay money to go to. This, though, was branded as Work the World Tour, so maybe it's not that kind of show, so perhaps that's fine. But then I was happy to see something more artistic, like what Mariah did. But it was just very one note, and it was just not very good. I mean, it was good. The concept was all right. She didn't really sell it for me. The lyrics, again, it was pre-recorded, and you could tell. I mean, to me, because she's not an artist. I mean, she's not a dancer, is she? So you can kind of tell. And to me, if she had learned those lyrics and if she had performed those lyrics live, that would have added some value to it. In the end, it just didn't go anywhere. And as much as I liked to see something like that, it wasn't really a winner for me.
I thought, for me, it was really powerful, and I thought it was, I don't know, I sort of had me on the edge of my seat sort of the whole time. Like it was, I don't know, it was really visceral and really, I don't know, it really affected me actually. I thought it was a really powerful sort of theme and powerfully delivered. I just want to touch on something that Kurt said in the chat as well, and then he pointed out quite correctly that Ongina didn't lip sync, she just danced, and she didn't actually lip sync at all. So like, okay, you did some shimmies, like I can do that. Next.
But sorry, just to give up, legit, what was it about? I honestly didn't understand it. Mariah's thing.
It's interpretative dance.
I know, but Luke, like you said, you were really affected by it, and it's visceral and that. But like, what was it? What was the message? What was it about?
Grant, let's not go down to your standards, babe.
Well, I was pointing up to the guy whose name tonight is Black Lives Matter, because was it not about that?
Was it?
I thought so.
Yeah, she spoke a lot about like wounds and kind of.
She literally mentioned segregation.
Oh, this is what I mean. But like, it's because I couldn't really understand like the lyrics.
Segregation, I love it.
I thought she was talking about. I thought it was about like Native Americans or something like that. Like I didn't. That's something like I didn't really like. Was it just me? Did it have a clear message? I know I'm an idiot. I admit I'm an idiot. Like
maybe it's a poet. I don't know, but I understand. I loved. To me, she should have won. I loved it. I know that's going to be controversial, but I loved it because to me, it's not. You know, if there's a show, the minute two people sing a song, no one should win. The minute two people do a dance, no one that does a dance should win. It should be a uniqueness, because uniqueness is actually one of the criteria to win, not just talent.
Look, it was.
Before I forget about Shay, because when we were talking about Shay earlier, I was gutted. You know, when they chucked the glitter stuff, the dancers round her, they chucked glitter stuff. I was so gutted. One of them didn't chuck a rose, and then she like made a thing of it. Because imagine they throw a rose to her on top of the pole, and she like pretends to fall because it's a rose.
Bob.
There's a lot of pointing, and I love it. It's kind of like an 80s disco or 70s disco, yeah. So And I thought kind of an interesting thing. I know Kurt's pointed out in the comments as well. So Mariah has like a background in the ball scene as well, which is really cool. So I think which is actually why I was really excited to have her back, because I think that's a really interesting perspective we've kind of not really had at all in Drag Race. I mean, and it's such a big origin point for like a lot of queens and a lot of drag culture. So, but no, I thought Mariah's was really affecting as well. I thought it was really powerful. I kind of at first I was a bit like, oh, like her voice is quite like monotone at first, and I was like, oh, but actually I think that really worked. It was so like solemn, and I think like kudos to her, because that could have like massively fallen on its face. Like I love when queens take risks like that, you know, it's, I mean, again, obviously it is a talent to sing, but I feel like it's in some ways it can be an easy option, and I don't say that to devalue their work or the work of singers, but I think in a variety contest, I think it can be that everyone's like kind of goes for what they know will be a fairly safe one. And I think Mariah, like kind of like when Tatiana did Same Parts, right? Where like it's a really like out of the box. And I think my favorite thing about the whole thing, I have to admit, I did love it, but like Rue acting like completely shocked when Mariah put her hand in like some red paint was like a brilliant moment of her kind of like touching some red paint and her like, how dare you? Like, I mean,
I think she was just scared that it would go all over the dress, which was my concern as well. I thought, oh my god, that dress is gonna get all red.
But that's I was surprised in some ways she didn't put more blood on herself. But I thought it was a really striking image at the end to end with her arm next to the slash of paint. I just thought it was really, and like, I mean, weirdly, and obviously a lot of race issues in America have been happening for a long time, but just the kind of coincidence of that happening at this time I thought was really powerful, and yeah, I really appreciated it. For me, it was one of my top 3.
I agree, and definitely performance art. You know, singing is such a well-trodden path. Like, okay, you come out, there's a microphone, you sing a song, there's a backing track. You know, we know what that's like. Whether it's a nice song or something is a different conversation. But performance art, where you don't know what's going to happen yet next, and when I don't know, all the symbolism involved in it, I thought it was great.
I mean, I wanted to love it, but I just didn't get it. I think I need to watch it again. I think it flew above my head this time a little bit. But to be fair, like everyone's saying, they couldn't really understand what she was saying, and I feel like we haven't got like a fully clear narrative at all from the performance. Nearly, like you guys have interpreted it in certain ways, which I think are all valid, and maybe was the message. But I don't think we've really got a clear, and maybe it's just me, but like a clear like, what's the story? What exactly was she saying? Like, what exact points was she making? You know,
I understood what she was saying. I understood the words, but I think actually that the pre-recorded nature of the words worked against her. I think that it would have been more powerful if she had said them live.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I need to watch it again. It's just me. I'm being dense. So should we move on to like the tops? Do anyone think have any like issue with the tops and bottoms this week or anything? Then. Cool. Should we go on to lip sync then? Because like that lip sync was phenomenal. It was again. I can't remember who said it earlier, but yeah, like exactly what I thought. Like, it's a reason. Like you get reminded why Evie won. Like she is phenomenal. But if you're going to say is, didn't she like 90% win because she has that really serious condition? She's like, I won't be able to ever perform again. She's like, oh, she's like went like in at this time, like the most intense like twisting and stuff I've seen for a while, or like maybe ever on Drag Race. And it's just like, girl, well, I don't know. Sorry, go on, Bob.
I mean, although like that is in some ways an advantage, although a disadvantage for other parts of her drag career, because it may be a shorter career essentially than a lot of other queens. I do think like it was such a perfect song choice for Evie. Like it's a song where like it's a song that's like light and fun like on the surface, but has like quite a darkness underneath it. And I just love, you know, like right from the beginning, Evie is just like playing, like I was just like, this is perfect. Like you've got all these lines about like, you know, she took my job and she took my money, and you just got like Evie like crawling around the stage. You're like, this is fucking perfect. Like so I think although there's an advantage in terms of bendiness, I think she really embodies a lot of songs so well, and is just really clever about how she performs. Like I'm always captivated by her, and I think it was always going to be a strong uphill climb for India regardless against Evie. I do think India did kind of like a standard like just dancing, living my best life kind of performance to it, which wasn't necessarily bad, but you're up against Evie, who's literally like interpreting it as this dark, witchy thing. So like, you're not going to win. And I also think actually, on a side note, I actually think it made sense as well to have the first lip sync not result in the win for the assassin, because I think they actually needed to explain the rules of the game, which is the prize money is going to roll over. So actually, just logistically, you need the assassin to win the first lip sync, just so you can explain that rule.
I thought it was interesting, like even India, like she knew she had lost. Like immediately she like looked at Evie, she's like, yeah, like, I think she bowed down and stuff. Like she knew, like, but then also kind of harsh in a way. Like Evie, like someone said earlier, like the assassins have like that's their only sort of focus probably for that X number of weeks or whatever. Like Evie went in like all in on that lip sync. Kind of unfair to Mariah in a way, right? Who's just got to do this as like an extra part to the talent show in the episode after doing that exhausting like hair whipping. Like she's probably wanted a little nap. You just got to like look to her left to see Evie just like twisting around herself. You're like, oh my god, like give me 2 minutes, you know? Sorry, Luke, what do you want to say?
I was just going to compare that, though. I know we're skipping ahead a little bit, but like Alyssa being the second lip sync assassin, she didn't bring it as much as I thought she might. So maybe she didn't have as much lead time. Maybe Evie just does that for like that's like Evie goes so extra with everything that maybe that's just sort of standard for her.
I think on that note, actually, the editing didn't show us much of Alyssa. It was, I mean, we just didn't see much of Alyssa. If you rewatch it, it was the camera was fixed on Shay. But going back to, which was very good, yeah, but we're jumping ahead. Yes. But going back to the first lip sync, yeah, I think it suited Evie much better, but also because Loca, living La Vida Loca means crazy, and she's a bit nuts, essentially, isn't she? Also, we must commend India though, because the timing on the forward roll, which landed at the exact right time. I mean, she couldn't have timed that any better. That was so powerful. So I was not quite sure actually who was going to win. I did like Evie, but I wasn't sure that the wig reveal hadn't gone wrong for some reason. It's not clear to me, but yeah, I think Evie had the slight edge there. But yeah, a very, very enjoyable lip sync, and the second one as well.
Yeah, should we move to episode 2? Because it has been going for an hour and a half, to be fair. Oh, sorry, go on, Luke, go on.
Sorry, just one more thing. I thought it was interesting that Mayhem tried to make a little bit of an alliance. Well, India tried to make an alliance with Mayhem because I think India already knew she was going to send Derek home in the first place. So she's like, this is just an optional extra. But she didn't actually save her in the end. So Mayhem owes her nothing. I'm curious to see how that plays out, if it plays out.
So quick thing on that. You know how like in previous seasons, obviously this is a little bit different. Did India reveal who she sent? Because, you know, they normally like the winner. Because I don't think India actually did she? I mean, I think we all just assumed it was Derek. So, like,
that's what I was going to say. She probably did, but I probably didn't bother putting like a minute of the episode towards it because it's just obvious, right? But it was smart. I completely agree. I thought when I was watching it, I thought it was smart that she made that alliance.
Right. Out of respect for Derek, I'm not going to say.
Oh my god! Sorry, go on, Sue.
The lip sync assassin, and they're like, "Baby, can you please reveal the lipstick the queens have chosen? Out of respect for the eliminated queen, I'd rather not. No one goes home this week."
Yeah, very that. Should we move to episode 2? Cool. Okay. There was no mini challenge, right? Luke, go on.
Even before the mini challenge, there was workroom discussion where Cracker threw herself under the bus by coming for Angina when she didn't need to. Cracker, what's going on? I mean, she kind of apologized for it later, but like, and Cracker even said it in an interview later, like, I should have just not said anything. Like, yep, bitch, you just put a target on your back.
Yeah, on that note, that's why I'm a bit like, I don't know where I stand with Cracker, because I think actually she's less in her head in this All Star. She's really going for it. She's full on, but I think full on Cracker means insane Cracker. Like she absolutely didn't need to say all of that, and I think it's gonna be fun to watch, but I think it might take away some of the the way we've come to like Cracker, because she's a bit unpredictable, and yeah, I think she's a bit nuts, but I'm here for it. I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens.
I shall quickly say, talking a bit nuts. Bob's frozen picture. Come on. What was I going to say? No, see. That was it. So this is kind of the same thing. Cracker is extremely intelligent, and from what I gather, very self-aware, which surprised me because she had a bit of a breakdown in confessional about like why she finds people don't connect with her, and why people don't like her. She wasn't sure, and it obviously was a big struggle for her. But then she knew that what she said to my brain's gone dead, to Angina wasn't like nice, right? Like she didn't at the time. I don't think she meant it purposely or hurtful in any way whatsoever. But I think she realized relatively quickly afterwards that, you know, oh shit, like that probably wasn't the right thing to say, and it probably did affect her, and I feel bad about that, etc. But my point is, like, how do you have that disconnect? I'm struggling to understand how she has disconnect between like okay, sorry, go on, Stu, and then Luke.
I understand Cracker completely, because I related to Cracker a lot, because like I'm really hyper person and I can accidentally offend people all the time, because I don't always, because despite the fact I like to be considerate towards people's feelings, sometimes I get so excited I don't think about what I'm saying, and then it comes out, or I won't even realize what I've said until later. And I felt really bad for Cracker because I felt a whole storyline about how sometimes it's hard to connect to people because you know people let you down so much that you just end up not really connecting, and you sort of just be there in the moment and focus on you. And what I feel bad for Angina too, though, because the way Cracker came for her there was, I'm on the dad, shush. Sorry, I gotta go because my dad's moaning because I'm talking on about gay things. Sorry, hold on.
Oh God. Oh no. Go on, Luke.
First of all, that's really sad. That's upset me. But also, I'm following on from what Suda said. I relate to Cracker quite a lot as well. I think there were two things in there that stood out for me. Cracker is trying to not be in her head and to just let it all out. And so I think I've certainly come from a place in my life where I held all of my thoughts in, and have now come to a place where I let them all out. Hence, I'm quite opinionated. Hence, my hand's always up first, because I got something to say about everything. And it's kind of like to stop yourself from being in that place where you share nothing, you kind of go to the other extreme and you share everything. And I think maybe that's where she came from. And I agree. I think she then sort of realized afterwards, oh, that actually wasn't very tactful and was probably not even necessary. But I think it's hard to get that switch exactly right, I think, when you're going about it. And I think too, on the I don't quite identify fully with Cracker on this, the like not getting used to people liking her because she's not sure it's going to last or anything like that. I grew up a traveling child. My dad's job moved a lot, and so every 6 months, 12 months, 18 months we would move. And so I was, how old was I? Maybe 10 by the time I settled in the one place. So I learned through my childhood, I learned to make quick friends but not deep friends, and then to keep it superficial, because I was about to leave you again. I'm not going to see you anymore. And so then I'm going to have to make new friends to just kind of people to sit with, but not actually to get to know. And so I kind of identify a little bit with that as well, of like, obviously I love all of you guys, and I'm really grateful for the friendships I have in my adulthood.
Lies.
But what was that? Say that again. Say it again.
He said lies.
Oh, bitch. I mean, that company excluded. No, I love you too, Matthew, even if you are a bitch. But you know, so I definitely know what that feels like, and it's an awful feeling. And I can kind of, I'm really looking forward to seeing Cracker being more vulnerable, which might mean sometimes overstepping the mark. But I'd kind of rather see that and then see her apologize rather than to see her try and hold it all in.
Like, as a thing, I totally agree with you guys, and like it was nice to hear your stories and that. But like, but this is the thing, and Cracker as well, and that, like her talking about that, I completely sympathise with 100%. But my confusion is more from like she seems so confused about why she feels like people feel like pushed away by her or whatever. But then that's what I'm saying. Whereas you guys like understood like how that's what I'm saying. She's so intelligent, and so she seems to be so self-aware. She knows how on one hand can you understand that what you did may have hurt someone, and you always do things like that because you say your thoughts too much, and etc. But then on the other hand, not understand why you feel like people are struggling to connect with you. That's all I'm trying to like work out. Does that make sense? Like, sorry, go on, Luke.
No, not at all. I just think I might have an answer to the question. I think when you put a wall up to protect yourself, you also put a wall up to keep other people out. And so you can't, which sounds like the same thing, but actually it means that you can't read them either. I'm not going to let you read me. And also I'm not really looking for the same things in you to then understand why you're coming at me this way. So I think that that's where it comes from. Also, welcome back, Suda. And I hope you're okay. Welcome.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah, I suppose that's a way to look at it. That could well be the case. Sorry, Bob, did you want to say something?
I probably missed little bits while my internet was bugging out, but I think it is an interesting thing with Cracker, because you do really feel for her, and I really hope that this doesn't become a villain edit for her, because obviously we've seen the sort of insight into the next episode where it looks like it's Alexis versus Cracker, and it's just, I hope it doesn't become a thing, because I feel like Cracker's better than that. It's odd because as soon as Cracker said it, you're like, oh, don't, baby, don't, please. But at the same time, I think I actually don't know if it materially changed much for Ongina this episode. I know that Ongina in her post about the episode on Instagram or whatever mentioned Miss Cracker and basically said, next time when someone's down, like, don't kick them down, like lift them up. And it was a bit bitter, but it's fair, she's right, but like at the same time it's actually, this is Cracker almost instantly realized that she shouldn't have done it.
So just like, I don't know whether I'm probably still naive. Oh, hey, Omar. But like I read like all of the times where Crackers seemed bitchy this season, like with Ongina, I read it from a place of like she wanted Ongina to believe in herself, and she was trying to like tough love kind of vibe. And other times as well, like Mayhem with the song, I kind of thought like she was doing it from a place of like, oh, Mayhem, like, I want to help you, this will be better for you. And probably some of that was like in terms of their team performing better generally as well. But for me, I interpreted her stuff as actually like the intent was good, but obviously the effect was bad. And like, I understand, I'm sympathetic to her. So like, so for me, like, as I always say, for me, it's always about intent. And for me, I read her intent as good personally. So yeah, go on, Roger.
Also, jumping forward a little bit, there was a little bit of talk in the workroom as well when they were beating. And I think Cracker comes as bossy. Like, she tells people what to do and what not to do. I think this is better. This is not better. And I think it is because she's a perfectionist. We know that from her season and just knowing her. But that, it's when you want things out of your control to also be perfect, that then she gets into trouble, because then you're stepping into someone else's territory, and that's maybe perhaps where she struggles to when it comes to relationships with colleagues, etc. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think that's a very dislikable feature in people.
I agree, and it's a feature I share with her. I think sometimes if I'm trying to make a suggestion to help someone, I know myself that it can come across as bossy, and so I really have to check that before I just come out and tell someone what to do. And I think maybe Cracker's coming from the same point of view. Because I think even when she was trying to rewrite Mayhem's song, I think what she was saying to, I can't remember who her teammate was, what she was saying was, I think it sounds better if it's like this. And so she was trying to give constructive criticism, but actually what she said was, it should be this, which comes across as like the font of all knowledge rather than a suggestion that I think might help you in your performance. So I think that's where the difference is. Omar's just said in the chat that he doesn't think it's being bossy, but it's being direct and strong. I think there's a difference. I think she is actually being bossy, but as a bossy person, I feel like I can say
that. Oh, I was going to say hi to Suleiman. Thanks for tuning in again. So yeah, are we good to move on, or do you guys want to talk more about Cracker Sitch? Cool. Yeah, I feel like I've analysed it pretty heavily. So should we talk about the main challenger, I guess, of this episode? Sorry. Cool. Okay, yeah. Let's try and think if I should give my thoughts first or not. Like, one of you guys go first. So talk about what you thought of like the song and like the verses and structure and like general performances first. Bob, do you want to go?
Yeah, I have to admit, like as soon as I saw like, oh, it's a song challenge and Shay's still in the competition, I was like, this is going to be good. Like I am here for this. Like there is almost no way that she can mess this up. And you know, and she was great. I think it was a really weird thing because I think as much as I don't always like the song ones, I think it does show, it always showcases a really interesting part of a lot of queens, which is how willing they are to kind of go out of their comfort zone and be a bit silly and a bit weird. So the fact that like India straight away was like, oh yeah, no, my heartthrob is Justin Timberlake. I was like, oh, this is so like, this is like the most obvious, like, I really want you to go like Blair going for Hannibal Lecter. I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Go for it. Like that is brilliant. And I think it paid dividends because actually as that song structure worked, which we obviously only knew when it was performed, the fact that it's so like such a sweet, like very like saccharine song, which is all like, oh, I'm so in love, like the disjunct between that and like Hannibal Lecter or like Mr. Rogers or like these slightly unusual choices makes the comedy work. And I think like that's, you know, like it was, you know, you heard all these little bits of laughter for a lot of the things like Hannibal Lecter, then like Justin Timberlake, you know, it's, I think a lot of the queens did fairly well. Like nobody was that terrible. I did feel for Ongina with like her voice being that wrecked, but yeah, it was I think it's always interesting to see where queens take it, and
yeah, so on that note, that's a very good point, Bob, because that, I think that's the difference between who can win a season and who doesn't really deserve to win, because they have heard the song, they get given the song first thing, so they can work it out. I mean, someone like Alaska would be there like that. She would go, oh, this is a very saccharine song, I'm gonna be in love with fucking Frankenstein or something like that, very outrageous thing. And the fact that India Ferrer, like you said, or Jana picked Henry Cavill is like, really, bitch. So yeah, I completely agree with that. And to me, I like the song. I mean, I don't normally like these song challenges either, but I thought it was fine because it was woven into the next person. I'm so in love with la la la, and here comes the next verse. And I thought that it had there was more work to be done by the queens into her verse. They were slightly longer than in a regular season, and they could really showcase their rapping expertise. I thought the best ones were obviously Shay, but also Cracker. I think Cracker's verse was very good, and it had different layers in tempo as well, like Shay's. It was slow at times and then very quick, and the choreography was on point. Like she showed her the JJ area in very, I know, it was great. I was surprised she was not in the top. She was only safe. I wasn't quite in agreement. I love Juju, and I'm just saving myself for later in the season when I have to kill you all. But I didn't quite agree that she was top, because I thought that she could have done way more than she did in her. Like her, I think her lyrics were good, but she didn't perform them in a particularly interesting or sassy way. I think she can be way more sassy than that. I thought she was going to be safe, or even bottom. And yeah, I can't quite remember. I thought Angina was going to be bottom. Yeah, I agree. Mariah bottom, and good for Blair. Blair was very good as well. She like Bob said, she played her strengths and performed very very well vocally this one time, and it was the counterpoint that the song needed at that point.
I think I think I thought Blair was really good. I thought her face was gorgeous. Blair can't move, bless her. She just can't. But I thought it was good. I liked Crackers as well, and the whole I don't know, the whole white girl thing, and the liking Sylvester Stallone, and then the reference to her ring was just hilarious and wonderful. Shay's was wonderful. The choreography from her and from the backing queens at that point, just brilliant. absolutely wonderful. I thought that Ongina was really interesting in that it was mostly at the start of the lines that her voice completely went, and then once she got into it, actually she was fine. So I think a lot of it was nerves, maybe nerves about the voice, but I think that being nervous about it made her voice much worse than it was. But I was amazed that they got the edit that they did without a crack or without a rasp, or like it sounded like she was just singing normally. Kind of wonderful. But I thought on Blair's, just one more, well, before I give up the talking stick. I really liked, obviously, the Hannibal Lecter, but then even the way that she worked the lyrics around, like that hungry look in his eyes, like, come on, that's a love song lyric. That's not even just making shit up for Hannibal Lecter, but it fits so perfectly and so wrongly at the same time. That's just one example. She did it at least 3 or 4 times in her verse. So props to Blair. Well done, Blair St. Clair.
Yeah, no, I have to admit that's something I wasn't expecting from Blair at all. Because I think one thing I'd found I hadn't like really been behind her that much during her season was because I felt like she was very safe and very samey at times. And so it was really good to see that from her. And yeah, exactly as Luke says, like those were actual genuine lyrics, but with a twisted element to them. I was like, where has this Blair been? And I hope we see more of that Blair. I also Ongina's was like auto-tuned to shit at one point as well. But I also have to admit, like, what was Ongina wearing? Like, I think everyone else looked a little bit more expensive, and Ongina's was just a bit like, oh, girl, what are you doing? Like, for me, the writing was on the wall for Ongina. I was like, yeah.
Sorry, just to bring Kurt into the stream. He's just quoted the line, "I'll serve him my heart with fries." It was an amazing line, and I mean, come on, hilarious. And when you've gone from hungry eyes to serving a heart with fries, like all the levels.
I'm loving Blair 2.0. Sia, what are your thoughts on the song?
I really liked it. I've been like writing my own versions of it all day. It's been so much fun. Like I really did like it. I was a bit mad there was a bottom 3 with it because they were also good. I don't like, although obviously Mariah and Ongina and that were weaker, they weren't so weak that they should have been a bottom 3, because Rue mentioned that it was a hard choice who's in the bottom. So how the hell did you manage to pick 3? Because like that was just my fault. I loved it. Like I thought Blair was the best in my opinion. Shay and Cracker were close seconds, but that was just personal preference because I think they were all really, really good. I do agree with Horatio about Jujubee because I love Jujubee. Like I'll be standing Jujubee the way I used to stand Manila, but I was a bit underwhelmed considering Jujubee's a singer and like such a sassy, shady queen. I thought they could have put a bit more energy into it. And yeah, it was really good though, really enjoyable.
So it was just to jump in and say, sorry, I'm speaking a lot. It was just something like Luke said earlier when he spoke about backup dancers. Literally, my first thought when he said that was to think that he was saying Ongina and Mariah, and then realized he meant actual backing dancers. So it was like the fact that I thought that like actually they could have been backing dancers for Shay. I think that's why it was a bottom 3 personally. Like for me, I think everyone else there were a lot of very good performances, and I think theirs felt quite middle of the road for me. I think it made a lot more sense as a bottom 3 personally, unfortunately.
Then why put India in there though? I don't think, they could have just had Mariah and Ongina as the bottom 2. Because imagine then poor Shay should have had to have chosen one of, although she chose Ongina in the end anyway. I just don't think there was a bottom 3 was not for this episode at least. But it's just my thoughts.
Maybe though that's why there was 3. Is like, well, I can't pick there were no 2 obvious worst ones, so I'm going to spread it out a little bit and say, okay, well, these were the sort of the next tier, and maybe like she could have done half of them if it was that hard to pick between them. Maybe that's how it came from.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say, who was saying about Ongina sounding decent despite the terrible vocal performance. But yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. Like, they have been the producers. I don't know whether it's since I got Revolution and got on these Leyland and whoever. Like they're super kind, right? They're great when they can do the edit, like chuck shitloads of auto-tune on it. They always make all the Queen sound as good as possible, which is quite different for the show. They always like if someone has a bad edit, a bad recording, and they want to edit them badly, which I normally used to always want to do to at least one or two Queens, they always would push that and like make the edit probably worse, the final edit of the song. But the last few seasons, they've really like made everyone sound as good as possible, which I think is great. It's a lot nicer to hear, like literally. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. For me, like Shay was amazing. I love Blair as well. But like, what was that line? The rhyme with Wakanda. I thought that was so clever. Like right at the end of her lyric. Oh shit! Come on, Bob. Do you remember it?
It was something like something about I wonder what kind of couple we'll be, or something like that. I can't remember the exact line, but yeah, she used Wakanda quite cleverly in that, and just was great.
Yeah, go on, Luke.
Or even just in the very first entrance look, I'm black. I love Shay.
Yeah,
that she did make a Storm reference, because Storm from the X-Men is like the love interest of Black Panther. So I but that's just because I'm a nerd.
I think she's more focusing on the rhymes than that. But no, yeah, she's super impressive. So yeah, should we talk about the looks quick for Runway? Just talk about any ones that stood out. Okay, go on, Bob. Obviously, want to say
Shay. Also, I'm sorry as well. Like in a look that's about like the skin you're in or whatever the fuck it was. Like the fact that like they a load of them just went with like flesh tones. I was like, come on, like you're wearing a dress. It's not even like form fitting. Like I don't understand. Like India's random like this is racial harmony on a dress. I was like, is it though? Is it? I would not have read that in a million years.
Interesting, because like I didn't get Mariah's. I got India's dress immediately as soon as she walked out. Like I immediately got that. I thought it was really cool because like when you heard the theme, if I hadn't heard a Runway theme about being in your skin or whatever, I wouldn't have gotten it. But honestly, I got it straight away. I'm like, I absolutely love that. Like conceptually, I think it was my favorite, and execution was great. But I liked Blair. I liked Shay's and Blair's more.
I thought it was just a bit of an average gown for me. I was just like, the shape wasn't anything that exciting for me. I think I found the love heart a bit more exciting than any of the rest of the dress. You had this weird like hairline shading situation going on. Like I feel like she should have been bottom 3 just for that alone, personally. But I think like I really enjoyed Onginas. I do think that it was a little bit whatever there, but I feel like everyone else just kind of swerved the theme entirely. I feel like Shay, and actually I don't know if it necessarily was the theme, but Blair's was. I really enjoyed Blair's. I don't know if it's necessarily the theme, but like Onginas was about like her heritage. So I feel like those were the only 3 who did something kind of interesting with it. Everyone else was just like flesh tone for me.
I mean, Onginas was about her heritage and was about feathers, but she doesn't have feathers. Like I don't really. Maybe I just don't understand the cultural reference well enough to understand that beast as being of skin, but. I don't know. I kind of didn't get it. I could sort of understand Blair's because she made her skin pink and it fits so seamlessly into her outfit. I wanted her to talk about being raw though, and like raw white skin is kind of pink, and like she's trying to show herself and be vulnerable and be raw. I could have seen that work, but I mean, obviously. Shea Coulee and the details and the paint and the everything that woman was amazing. What a look.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that everyone said for once. Just to add, I think Jujubee's look was very good as well. No one's mentioned it. I think that maybe that's what put her in the top. Because I don't know, because I don't think her performance was that good. I think her hair was very good. So I'm just thinking that, and Rue did mention it, that it's a combined decision between the performance and the look. So I think that might have edged her into the top, because the other contestant for the top 3 was Cracker, and Cracker's look wasn't. I didn't like it. I mean, I'd be interested to see what you guys think. I just didn't get it. I didn't get what that big screen was about, and you can see her face. Like, you need to be taller to wear that, or I don't know. I guess the screen was there to cover you, but why do you want to cover your face? I don't understand what's going on. Mariah's was very good, but again, it was not in theme, was it? But she looked amazing. She looked very, very, very good. But yeah, Shay's you just couldn't take your eyes off of her.
So I just want to say, like, backing off what you guys said. So, like, I also interpreted Blair as opposed to Raw as like you don't like know what to expect from her. Like, you've seen one thing from her, but she's actually this other thing. She wants to show that, and this is her skin. That's kind of what I got from it as well. I thought that was really cool. But Juju's, I didn't personally like Juju's look. I think it was a bit sloppy, like execution. I don't know. For me personally, I didn't love it. I know I'm in the minority. The judges loved it. You guys loved it, but I didn't think it was one of her best looks, to be honest. And sorry, wait, what's the other queen I wanted to mention? Shea Coulee, obviously, yeah, like stunning look, absolutely beautiful, amazing. But like the tip padding was a little bit wonk at times, right? Like that was my only slight issue with it. Like other than that, like flawless. Like it was like a 9.5. Like if it was just as that, like a little bit more even, a bit more consistent. But apart from that, like I don't know, like the concept and the execution was like great. Oh, and the freckles were a little bit like lamely done as well. But apart from that, like 9.5 out of 10 from me. Go on, Luke.
Yeah, I think for me it was some like when she was just standing, actually they looked fine. It was sometimes in some movement positions they kind of overlapped weirdly or something. But I was just going to draw our attention to Kurt's suggestion, asking how we would have done the runway, and he thinks we should ask this every week, and I'm inclined to agree. Shout out to Kurt.
Yeah, I like that question. Let's say what Kurt did first. And so Kurt is saying he'd do the runway naked with hair covering his boobs and jewelry over his crotch, which I'm down for. Although I might not get in tempest de jour from that born naked runway. From that, that's the only slight thing. But I think that's a great question. Who wants to start? Go on, Bob. Bob, then Luke.
I think I feel like I would have gone for something like a kind of nakedness thing with that as well. I also feel like I would have. This is going to sound like I don't know how I would have how I would have achieved this, but like something that essentially represents. Because for me, I've for a very long time felt uncomfortable with my body and not comfortable within my own skin, and it's taken me a very, very long time to get to where I am, and even then I'm not. Whatever. I really would have wanted to have. Portrayed body dysmorphia in some way. Don't quite know what that looks like, but some kind of way of it kind of being a very naked or nude look, but with it kind of either distorted or like a mirror reflection that's not quite right, like something that kind of plays up to that. That would have been my. I mean, again, have zero idea how I would ever have executed that, and I'm definitely not the person to go to if you're looking for that look in your life. But like, that's maybe how I'd have approached it at least.
Work. Yes, I live for that. I think that's wonderful. Definitely. And you could have like almost come walking out with a mirror beside you or something, a little bit like the pinata that we saw at the finale, this whole side panel with a completely different you drawn in it, maybe, or something like that. That'd be great. I think mine would be a little bit like I would want to think outside the box, and I would want to do something different, kind of always. And so a skin-colored dress is not for me. I would want to be some sort of Frankenstein's monster of different bits that make up me, all stitched on and added together, kind of nude look. I don't know how I would do that, whether like, yeah, I don't know, maybe it would be a little bit masculine, a little bit of feminine, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of Australia, a little bit of Britain, you know, all of the bits that come together to make up me, but kind of in some sort of a weird, grotesque skin kind of way. It rubs the lotion on its skin.
Ooh, I like that a lot. Horatio?
So I'm not very creative when it comes to dressing up, but if I share a screen, can you all see my screen? Does that work?
Try it.
Right. So
broadcasting porn.
Screen.
It's just a link to his OnlyFans.
Yeah, don't get me demonetized, please. Well, don't get any money from us anyway. Don't get me banned from YouTube.
Right. So I would wear this. I hope you can see this picture.
Yes.
Yes, Queen.
Oh my gosh. Kudos to you for wearing that. Like that takes balls. I mean, very literally.
Already worn in the past.
You could have some little like little cups that go over your boobs as well as it comes down.
Yeah. That's my skin.
That's great. Sue, what would you do?
I would have a giant magnifying glass over my crotch, so it's like zoomed in so much it's already blurred a bit, so that all the pubes are coming out like that, and then out to the magnifying glass in red I'd have like the pubes going all the way over my skin like dragon scales to represent the Welsh dragon. So like because the challenge was comfortable in your own skin, right? That's what I reckon I would do. And then like So, and maybe if I was insecure, but if I'm on Drag Race, I'm not going to be. You know, I want to show them I got balls and that. So I then just turn around and be butt naked from the back, and I'd have a big sign: "Real men, even drag queens don't shave their legs" or something. Just I'm trying to come up on the fly. That's not funny, but I'd have time to prepare something witty on the back.
I love that you've managed to incorporate like balls and the Welsh dragon. Like, I feel like that's such an unlikely combo. That's incredible. That has made my day.
No, that's what I'd have: Welsh beef on the back.
That's good. That's good. I think I'd probably do, because like my thing is probably body hair, so I'd probably do like something similar to Eva Destruction on Dragula. You know, where like, I don't know, like trying to emphasize body hair in some way, but then still have like a really beautiful painted face. I don't know. That would be probably what I would do. Yeah. So what else there to talk about? The lip sync, Alyssa. We kind of talked about it already, right? Any extra thoughts on that? Let's go suited then, Luke.
No. You know, we just did that. Can we also say what we would have, who we would have picked to be in love with for the song? Because I would have also done Henry Cavill, but as The Witcher.
I would have gone for Luke's opinions.
Sorry, Luke's reaction.
I can't answer this.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know who I would do. You guys? Anyone else got any ideas? No, none of us can think.
I don't really
Ricky
fancy any
Martin.
celebrities. Like,
Actually, I would have done Ricky Martin, especially after seeing him
just in front of him,
before.
just really like intensely stare at him for the entire song.
Maybe we would have done Michelle Visage or made it something about the show, or Carson. That would be great. I think Carson would be a fun person to, like, you know, banter off or whatever.
Oh yeah, Ross as well.
Lots of fashion jokes and things like that. Remarkably well dressed for a man, you know. I don't know, make some sort of innuendos.
That's a good idea. Ross would be good as well, I think. So yeah, so we sort of talked about lip sync already, right? Is there anything else you wanted to add about? Okay, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say about Angina saying you should send me home. That was an important part of the episode, and for me, like, I won't say much on it because that, like, if you volunteer to go home, it's like, okay, bye. Like, I kind of don't need to hear anything else. I kind of almost, as far as the decision goes, I kind of don't care what the motivation is, or, you know, like, if you're going to fold that easily, then bye, next.
This is like, I don't want to repeat what I said earlier. I go through it again, but like I do feel like, again, my reaction to that was like, I feel like Angina's been elevated so much, like outside of the show, like so many expectations were put on her. You know, I that's a lot of pressure to come in with, especially if you're not really at the level people have put you at. Again, like, I don't know if that's harsh or not, but that's kind of like my read of that situation. Do you guys have anything else you want to say? Yeah, go on, Luke.
Sorry, I'm laughing not at Angina's level of elevation or whatever. I'm laughing at Silverman's comment that he would pick El DeBarge as the person he's in love with, which would absolutely be the winner.
Guaranteed, yeah, and then you're guaranteed to be in the final. It's a great choice.
Oh, 100%, especially before season 12 was probably filmed as well. Right, so should we whip out our CUNTs? Because it's been a 2-hour stream. My battery's literally about to die in 5 minutes, so we've got that too long left. So let's go round in a circle, right? So I'll start. Oh shit, why did I say that? Charisma. Let's give it to Angina, because she's Juju. Obviously Juju. Like, she's so much fun to watch. Like, so likable. Her jokes, like, are proper funny. Like, the shit, what was it? Like, the house joke or whatever, like, fill my house or whatever. Like, when I love when she's like in a confessional, she just like says funny stuff like that. She's like, what am I saying? Like, I think she's proper funny. So Juju, my charisma easily. Suitor, then Horatio, then Rouse.
My charisma's Juju, because what do you get? You put $20,000 in an ARA Ross account, you get $20,000 in a JR Ross account.
I think my charisma is going to be Alexis Mateo. I wasn't a great fan of Alexis Mateo back in season 3, but I have to admit, he's very quick. She's very quick. Like, she just and very witty and very funny. She has always something to say to anything that happens, and I'm living for this drama coming up with Cracker. Charisma to Alexis.
That's a really good shout, actually. Yeah. I'll probably also go for Juju. I just love her. I could watch her, like, eat toast.
I mean, I could watch her make toast, which is literally like you push a button and you wait. Yeah, Juju. I'm with Juju as well.
Cool. Kurt saying Alexis. My uniqueness would be Evie Oddly for obvious reasons.
My uniqueness, I'm going to give to. Are we doing these for 2 episodes or both?
Both.
Yeah, for uniqueness, I'm going to go with Angina, because although she didn't do amazing, I've never seen the little car thing before that. I thought she was unique, at least for the last 2 episodes.
I think the most unique thing we've seen is being able to portray yourself as someone who is your own self, but able to also inhibit and live through someone else, which is what Derek Barry was being able to do. So she was being herself, but also being 15 other celebrities. So that's quite unique. I think Derek Barry wins my uniqueness. Uniqueness.
That was like the perfect setup. I love you. I'm going to go for uniqueness for Mariah, for at least kind of stepping outside the box for her performance.
I'm going to agree with exactly what Bob said.
Controversial. So Kurt's giving it to Ricky Martin. Nerve, I'm giving to Derek Barry for obvious reasons, but I also feel kind of bad for it because I feel like she's not in a great place generally. I don't really know.
I'm really torn between Cracker and Mayhem, because I think someone else may pick Cracker. I'm going to pick Mayhem because I think the way she went for Jujubee for admitting she picked her lipstick was just ridiculous. It's a competition. You literally try to have your talent be opening your eyes and doing a poor lip sync.
My nerve is going to go to Jujubee because she was the only queen, along with Mayhem, who was the other bottom queen in the Derek. So she was the only other queen, along with Derek, who voted for Mayhem in the first episode. So nerve for Juju.
That's a really good one. I am going to go for India for holding her nerve, because I think it must have been quite hard coming into that, particularly after having been away for a while and like in the face of all that negativity, and then just to go out and kill it was, I think, pretty good.
I'm going to go for nerve for Mayhem as well. Like, I feel like she was making everything personal. She was saying it was personal. It wasn't personal. She was making it personal. Yeah, Mayhem.
Okay, cool. Talent, Shay, again, obvious reasons.
I'll go with Shay as well. I mean, yeah. And this can I just add as a note? This is an issue with having Shay in a competition. It's, although she did amazing, it's what I'm expecting, and I'm a bit bored she won. You know, like I'm glad she did, because it was amazing to watch, but.
I'm just going to give talent to India Ferrer because I don't think there's going to be many other opportunities to give it to her, and I really enjoyed her variety show.
And nerve goes to Horatio here. I am going to give talent to Shay. Shay said it herself in season 9. She's black excellence. She's black and she's excellent. Like, there we go.
Yeah. Also Shea Coulee. I mean, what a fantastic, talented, brilliant, all the looks, the performances, she's holding herself well. Professional was a word that someone else wrote down, and I would write it down too. So talent, Shea Coulee. And Grant Screen's gone back. I wonder if that means his battery actually died. Maybe it's just us now.
You're going to take over. There you go. Who's like the deputy? We need a leader. This is like very like Lord of the Flies now.
We got rid of him. Yes.
Well, he goes to try and upload this.
Quite really gone.
It's still running. We haven't stopped yet.
Cricky. Actually, at this point, will he be able to upload it properly? If we're still on, like.
Do we wait for him to
it's still on YouTube?
We may have to. Let's see if he's going to text. In the meantime, does anyone have a particularly interesting anecdote of their time in lockdown that they would like to share with the room?
Are we not supposed to do something that like recommendations or whatever?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Before that, can we after there's been some time now after the season 12 finale, do we still agree with our initial thoughts on the outcome of the episode?
I'm still glad.
Have we changed our mind? Yeah.
It just it sits right with me now, seeing her up on that list. Hey, there we go.
Sorry, my laptop fully died. It's 10 minutes left, but then just died straight away. Sorry, guys. What I missed is the stream fully derailed, or we all good?
We were just about to move on to recommendations and stuff.
Oh, cool, great, perfect. So, do you guys start? Do you guys start?
Horacio did have a good question about whether we still agree with what we said about the finale of season 12.
What did we say?
About like the winner and like everything.
Whether anyone has changed their mind or opinion as to what happened, or
I'm still happy Jada won. I feel like it looks right to me.
No, not
Well,
to
I
me.
heard a rumor that the only reason Gigi didn't win is because she apparently she wasn't at home. She broke lockdown. Was in a studio recording, and because they didn't want to disqualify her because of the Sherry Pie thing. Apparently, they just let it go into the. But apparently, she broke the rule. She was meant to be at home recording, not at the studio.
All right.
Yeah, she was at a studio apparently, not at home. She, and it's funny because I remember saying on that episode that I thought her camera looked more HD than everyone else's.
Is this on her individual lip sync or onto the very last one?
Apparently she'd made. I don't know if it's true, but apparently she was like at a studio and arranged it or something. Omar's saying she cheated as well.
Yeah, for the individual one, for the Take On Me one, I think it was.
Yeah. Like that, so I don't know how much it's true.
Oh, that's interesting. No, my thoughts haven't changed on it. So yeah, should we do recommendations? Anyone got any recommendations?
Can I make a bad recommendation?
Bad recommendation.
Anyone wants to have a support bubble in their own place?
You all live too far away from me for any kind of bubble. Like I'm always refusing to go on public transport. So like I got invited to, for like a picnic next week in like Hackney, and I'm like, I mean, I'm not going to walk there from Croydon.
No.
Like, you know.
Are you from Croydon?
I am, for my sins. Yeah.
My former best friend used to live in Croydon, but he's from
note the former. Like, this is like,
and then he moved to Croydon, and that was all over.
I went to Cheltenham University, and we met in Cheltenham, and it was just we just fell out because I don't want to,
because they're from Croydon.
No, I
mean it's fair. Like if you guys
early though, which is it's confusing the way you guys go on about boroughs. Like depending who we talk to, he's from a different part of Croydon.
Well, like my parents still talk about going to London as if it's a separate city.
Omar, I'm with you. Take me with you. See you later. My only recommendation is that song I Don't Care About Ricky Martin. That's like a legit bop. It's been on my playlist, like Bop's playlist for years. Listen to that if you haven't heard it before, if you don't remember it. But yeah, any recommendations, guys? Put your hand up if you've got one, I guess. Yeah, go on, Sue. Sue it and Luke, and then we'll bounce.
It's She-Ra, the Princesses of Power on Netflix. It's a really bad show for most of its run, but the final season's amazing. And they, like a lot of shows queer bait, the final season pulls through on so much queer baiting, and I didn't even know I wanted it to happen in the show, and it was so good.
In fairness, this whole live stream is queer baiting.
No, we're baiting anybody. Not just that way. We're baiting them for a different reason.
My recommendation, and I'm really late to the party, but it was a recommendation to me, and I sort of therefore felt obligated to watch it, and I'm totally in. And it's Dynasty. So it is so funny, and it's so over the top, and so ridiculous, and they're dripping money everywhere, and it's obscene, and it gives me all of the escapism I need from my one-bedroom flat.
The new one, though, yeah?
The new one, yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's like Camp Incarnate as well. I love it so much.
Can I quickly ask, do you need to have any knowledge of like 80s Dynasty to...
No.
I do not have any knowledge of 80s Dynasty, and I'm living for it.
Oh, okay, perfect. Because that was my that's why I didn't start watching it, because I was worried I needed to sort of have a primer for it.
I think it's like I don't know, because I don't know the original, but I feel like it's a remake rather than a like it's not a continuing on.
Sammy Joe was a woman or something in the original one, I think, and now he's like a on.
I feel like they've sort of updated the stories perhaps, but a lot of the character names I have heard before went in reference to the old one. So,
nice.
Well,
I've got a quick recommendation. Oh, sorry.
So in the later season, they reused the burnt champagne line, and like the whole internet when that came out, it was gag.
Sweetheart, I love you. If you give me any spoilers, I will. I don't know. I will not be held responsible.
Oh, but that's from the 80s one. Like it's like sorry, it was like that's the only thing I knew about Dynasty before I started watching it.
So good.
I'm hoping there are enough like power shoulders from like the 80s. I'm not sure if that's going to feature.
What's your recommendation?
What was it? Sorry.
What's your recommendation?
Oh, my recommendation. So there are loads of really great anti-racist resources out there. Look at them, find them. Loads of amazing books by people of color talking about experiences of racism and tackling racism that you should definitely check out. And I'm now trying to think of a really good example off the top of my head after that. There are like Akala's Natives I've got coming in the post. I'm really excited about. Why I'm no longer talking to white people about race is also really, really good. I absolutely love that. So yeah, there are tons and tons of great resource packs out online. Do it and educate yourself. Especially it's Pride Month and we owe a shit ton to queer people of color for our rights and just generally for humanity. So do it. There you go. That sounds really virtue signally, but yeah.
It's not.
No, it's completely wonderful, and I think it's great that this conversation has finally kind of been properly started in the mainstream and that it's continuing as well. And to continue that, then another recommendation I would have was the show that I started a long time ago. Started watching. I didn't do it. Called Dear White People.
So good.
Yes, it's so good. It's wonderful. So get out there, watch it, and
I love it.
Yes.
Like at the moment on Facebook, every day I'm posting a black or Asian or ethnic minority actor or writer or something on my Facebook, because what I found is trying to argue to people that racism is still an issue is not working. So I'm just trying to celebrate like black people in the media and celebrities and ones that I admire, because I think it's more effective, because people that are racist want to be racist. Do you know what I mean? You can see, and there's like a different. I don't want to go into it because the stream's gone forever.
I think the challenge is a lot of people
I think we can. I think on that note, though, I think people do not want to be racist. I think they can learn if you tell them the right stuff. Not everyone wants to be a racist. I think there's ways to tell them and to enlighten them. This is not virtue signaling. It's about opening your mind, and we are all able to do that. It's like a muscle. If you exercise it, it grows.
Like there's a difference between racist people and then like people that actually like proper hate people for their skin color than people that are just like, I didn't even realize that was, there's a difference.
Those can also change.
It's true.
Yeah.
A friend of mine has been posting a lot on his Facebook about similar to what Bob's just done now, sort of posting resources and things. And he'll often word it as like, I only discovered this stuff recently myself, and so I found it really empowering, so you should go out and do it. And he kind of takes the heat out of it, and like there's no accusation in what he's saying. He's like, I didn't realize things were like this before either. And I think
another thing that I've learned through all of this is that no one really is born racist. It's something that we inherit as a culture. And there's many layers and many degrees of how racist one can be, but it's all inherited, it's all learned, so it can be unlearned.
Yes, I think it's great. I just wanted to quickly say as well. So Kurt's saying he's been trying to talk to his dad about how black lives aren't treated the same as us, and he's not having it. I want to say, like, I think it's really important everyone can do everyone does what they can, 100%, but also do like take your own mental health and well-being into consideration as well. That's all I wanted to really add. But obviously, completely agree with everything you guys said. So I think that's a good place to end, right? That's good for people. Great. Okay, cool. So thanks for sticking with us. If you have anything you've got to say we haven't covered, leave a comment and we'll get back to you like call center style. And we'll see you next week, same sort of time Saturday, right? If we can all make
Love you guys.
You
take care.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.